Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Madhurita Shri Bhagavat Prasad Sarana Triptan Hari Bhakta Sangan. Madhurita Shri Bhagavat Prasad Sarana Triptan Hari Bhakta Sangan. Vidvaiva Triptin Bhajata Sadaiva. Vidvaiva Triptin Bhajata Sadaiva. Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Vande Guru Shri Shri Radhikar Madhavayodapada Madhurya Leela Gunarupanam Nam. Madhurya Leela Gunarupanam Nam. Pratikshana Spadana Lolupasya. Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Vande Guru Shri Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Nikunjayundo Rasikali Siddhyai. Jaya Libir Yuktira Pekshini. Nikunjayundo Rasikali Siddhyai. Libir Yuktira Pekshini. Tatrati Daksharati Valavasya. Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Chakshadari Vena Samaste Shastre Uttastata Bhavyataiva Saddhi. Hindu Prabhuya Priyaiva Tasya. Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Vande Guru Yasya Prasadat Bhagavat Prasado. Yasya Prasadat Nagati Kutopi. Jayam Sugam Sasyaya Sasvi Sandam. Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Bhajare bhajare amamana atimanda.
Bhajare bhajare amamana
Atimanda. Bhajan bina gati nai re. Bhajan bina gati nai re. Bhajabane Radha Krishna. Bhajan bina gati nai re. Bhajabane Radha Time for class. Go Randa, go Randa, go Randa. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakti Vrinda Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Bhakti Vrinda. Continuing with Madhya Lila, chapter 18. The Lord's visit to Sri Vrindavan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has just been to Keshi Tirtha and then to the place of the Rasa dance, where he loses consciousness. Due to ecstatic love, he loses consciousness. Chaitana pana puna gadagadiyaya hase kande nache pade uche svarigaya. When the Lord regained his senses, he began to roll on the ground. He would sometimes laugh, cry, dance, and fall down. He would also chant very loudly. E rangi se dina tata gonaila sandhya kale akrure asi viksha nirvahaila. Being thus transcendently amused, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed that day happily at Keshi Tirtha. In the evening, he returned to Akrura Tirtha, where he took his meal. Prate Vrindavane Kaila Chiragate Snana Tentuli Talate Ashi Karila Vishrama. The next morning, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to Vrindavan and took his bath at Chiragat. He then went to Tentuli Tala, where he took rest. Krishna Lila Kadela Se Briksha Puratana Tare Tale Pindi Banda Paramachikana. The tamarind tree named Tentuli Tala was very old, having been there since the time of Lord Krishna's pastimes. Beneath the tree was a very shiny platform. Nikate Yamuna Vahe Sitala Samira Vrindavan Shobha Dekhi Yamunada Nira. Since the river Yamuna flowed near Tentuli Tala, a very cool breeze blew there. While there, the Lord saw the beauty of Vrindavan and the water of the river Yamuna. Tentula Tale Vase Kare Nama Sankirtana Madhyana Kariyashi Kari Akrure Bojana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to sit beneath the old tamarind tree and chant the holy name of the Lord. At noon, he would return to Akrura Tirtha to take lunch. Akrurera loka aise prabhure dekite loka bides vachande nare kirtana karite. All the people who lived near Akrura Tirtha came to see the Lord Jai Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And due to the large crowds, the Lord could not peacefully chant the holy name. Vrindavani Ashi Prabhu Vashiya Ekanta Nam Sankirtana Kare Madhyana Paryanta. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go to Vrindavan and sit in a solitary place. It was there that he chanted the holy name until noon. Tritiya Prahare Loka Paya Darashana Sabare Upadesha Kare Nam Sankirtana. In the afternoon, people were able to speak to him. The Lord told everyone the importance of chanting the holy name. Nam Sankirtan. Hena Kali Aila Vaishnava Krishna Dasa Nama Rajaputa Jati Grihasta Yamuna Paregama. During this time, a Vaishnav named Krishnadas came to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was a householder belonging to the Kshatriya class, and his house was located on the other side of the Yamuna. Keshi snana kari se kaliyadaha yaite amli talaya go shaneri deke achambite. After bathing at Keshi Tirtha, Krishnadas went towards Kaliyadaha and suddenly saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sitting at Amli Tala. 10 Tuli Tala.
Timing.
Prabhu Ra, Jai Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Gurudev.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu Ra Rupa Prema Deki Haila Chamatkara Prema Veshe Prabhure Karena Namaskara. Upon seeing the Lord's personal beauty and ecstatic love, Krishnadas was very astonished. Out of ecstatic love, he offered his respectful obeisances unto the Lord. Prabhu kahe ke tumi kahan tomara gara, Krishnadasa kahe mui grihasta pamara. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Krishnadas, "Who are you? Where is your home?" Krishnadas replied, "I am a most fallen householder. Rajaputa Jati Muni O Pare Moragara Mora Ichahaya Hana Vaishnava Kinkara. I belong to the Rajput caste, and my home is just on the other side of the river Yamuna. However, I wish to be a servant of a Vaishnava." Very simple and pure desire. I just wish to be a servant of a Vaishnava. And he's come across Mahaprabhu himself. Kintu aji ekamuni svapna dekinu, se svapna parateka toma ashipainu. Today, I had a dream, and according to that dream, I have come here and found you. Prabhu Tanre Kripa Kaila Alingana Kari Preme Mata Haila Se Nache Bale Hari. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then bestowed upon Krishnadas his causeless mercy by embracing him. Krishnadas became mad with ecstatic love and began to dance and chant the holy name of Hari. The touch of Mahaprabhu had a profound effect on everyone. Prabhu Sange Madhyane Akrura Tirthi Aila Prabhura Avashishta Patra Prasada Paila. Krishnadas returned to Akrura Tirtha with the Lord, and remnants of the Lord's food were given to him. Prate Prabhu Sange Aila Jalapatralana Prabhu Sange Rahe Griha Sri Putra Chadiya. The next morning, Krishnadas went with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Vrindavan and carried his water pot. Krishnadas thus left his wife, home and children in order to remain with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vrindavane Puna Krishna Prakata Haila Yahan Tahan Lokasabha Kahite Lagila. Everywhere the Lord went, all the people said, "Krishna has again manifest at Vrindavan." Ekadina akrurete loka pratakale Vrindavana haite aishe karikola hale. One morning, many people came to Akrura Tirtha. As they came from Vrindavan, they made a tumultuous sound. Prabhu deki karila loka charana bandana Prabhu kahe kahan haite karila agamana. Upon seeing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the people offered respects at his lotus feet. The Lord then asked them, "Where are you all coming from?" Loka kahe Krishna prakata kaliya dahera jale kaliya sire nritya kare panaratna jivale. The people replied, "Krishna has again manifest himself on the waters of Kaliya lake. He dances on the hoods of the serpent Kaliya, and the jewels on those hoods are blazing. Shakshat tekila loka nahika samshaya shuni hasi kahe prabhu sabha satyahaya." Everyone has seen Lord Krishna himself. There is no doubt about it. Hearing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to laugh. He then said, everything is correct. E mata tinaratre lokera gamana sabe ashikahe Krishna pailon darashana. For 3 successive nights, people went to Gadadhara to see Krishna, and everyone returned saying, now we have seen Krishna himself. Prabhu age kahe loka Shri Krishna dekila Saraswati eva ke satya kahaila. Everyone came before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and said, now we have directly seen Lord Krishna. Thus, by the mercy of the goddess of learning, they were made to speak the truth. You see what's going on here, right? So the people of Vrindavan have believed that, first of all, Krishnadas Kaviraj has said, everywhere the Lord went, all the people said, Krishna has again manifest in Vrindavan. And then he says, one morning the people came to Apura Tirtha, where Mahaprabhu would sit and chant Harinam. And they said to him, and they were making a big tumultuous sound, so they were excited. And they said, we've seen Krishna. He's out on the river Yamuna. He's appeared again. He's dancing on the hoods of Kaliya. And we can see the jewels on Kaliya's head, like shining at night. We see this pastime happening at night. And and they say, verily we have seen Krishna. And Mahaprabhu says, everything is correct. So, of course, as we find out, it's not Krishna in the Yamuna at all, dancing on Kaliya. Yeah, it's a boat now. But the people think that for 3 nights in a row they've seen Krishna. And everyone came before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and said, now we have directly seen Lord Krishna. And Mahaprabhu says, by the mercy of Goddess Saraswati, they are made to speak the truth. No, this is important. Krishnadas Kaviraj says, by the mercy of Goddess Saraswati, they were made to speak the truth. What is that truth? That truth is their statement, now we have directly seen Krishna. They're thinking that they're seeing Krishna out on the river, the boatman with his torch, with his lantern, and they're thinking it's Krishna dancing on Kaliya. But Krishnadas Kaviraj, and they're saying, now we've seen Krishna. And Krishnadas Kaviraj says, yes, they're speaking the truth. Why? Because they're seeing Mahaprabhu. They're coming and telling Mahaprabhu, we have directly seen Krishna. So even though, they're thinking the boatman on the water is Krishna, they're telling Mahaprabhu, we've seen Krishna. And Krishnadas Kaviraj is saying, yes, this is true. Even though they're kind of tricked into speaking the truth. Mahaprabhu deki satya Krishna darashana nija jnane satya chare asatya satya brahma. When the people saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they actually saw Krishna. But because they were following their own imperfect knowledge, they accepted the wrong thing as Krishna. Bhattacharya tabe kahe prabhura charane agya deha yai Krishna agya deha yai kare Krishna darashane. At that time, Balabhadra Bhattacharya placed a request at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said, please give me permission to go see Lord Krishna directly. So he was taken in by the testimony of these excited people. Tabe tanre kahe prabhu chapara maria murkera vakye murka haila panditahana. When Balabhadra Bhattacharya asked to see Krishna at Gadadhara, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mercifully slapped him, saying, you are a learned scholar, but you have become a fool, influenced by the statements of other fools. Krishna kene darashana debe kali kale nija brahme murkaloka kari kolahale. Why will Krishna appear in the age of Kali? Foolish people who are mistaken are simply causing agitation and making a tumult. Vatula nahayo gare rahata vasya Krishna darashana kariha kariratriyana. Do not become mad. Simply sit down here and tomorrow night you'll go to see Krishna. Pratakahe bhavyaloka prabhustana aila. Krishna deki aila prabhu tanhare pujila. The next morning, some respectable gentlemen came to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the Lord asked them, have you seen Krishna? Lokakahe ratre kaivartya no kati chadiya kalyadahe matsyamare tute jvaliya. These respectable gentlemen replied, at night in the Kalya lake, a fisherman lighting a torch in his boat catches many fish. Durahaite tahadeki lokera haya brahma kaliyera sharire Krishna kariche nartana. From a distance, people mistakenly think that they are seeing Krishna dancing on the body of the Kaliya serpent. No kate Kaliya Gyana diperatna gyane jaliyare mudha loka Krishna karimane. These fools think that the boat is the Kaliya serpent, and the torchlight is the jewels, and the torchlight the jewels on his hoods. People also mistake the fisherman to be Krishna, the fisherman, thinking him to be Krishna. Vrindavane Krishna aila se satyahaya Krishna re dekila loka ihamityanaya. Actually, Lord Krishna has again returned to Vrindavan. That is also the truth, and people have seen him. Kintu gohan Krishna deki kahan brahmamane stanu purushe yaicha viparita gyane. But where they are seeing Krishna is their mistake. It is like considering a dry tree to be a person. Prabhu kahe kahan paila Krishna darasana loka kahe sanyasi tomi jangama narayana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then asked them, where have you seen Krishna directly? The people replied, you are a sannyasi renunciate. Therefore, you are a moving Narayan, Jangama Narayan. And Prabhupada says in the purport that this is the viewpoint of Mayavad philosophy. Mayavad philosophy supports the impersonalist view that Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has no form. One can imagine impersonal Brahman in any form. Vishnu, Shiva, Vivishwan, Ganesh or Durga. They are the Pancha Devata, traditional Pancha Devata, Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, Surya or Vivishwan, Ganesh and Shakti or Durga. That wasn't part of the purport, that was my little insertion there, by the way. In case you think Prabhupada said that was me. Again, quoting the purport. According to the Mayavad philosophy, when one becomes a sannyasi, he has to be considered a moving Narayan. Om Namo Narayanaya. I'm skipping chunks here. Therefore, Mayavad sannyasis address themselves by saying Om Namo Narayanaya. In this way, one Narayan worships another Narayan. Actually, an ordinary human being cannot become Narayan. Even the chief Mayavadi sannyasi, Sri Shankaracharya, says, Narayana paro vyaktat. Narayan is not a creation of this material world. Narayan is above the material creation. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first met Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was an Advaitin, which means a Mayavad, impersonalist philosopher, impersonalist, follower of the impersonalist school of thought. Mahaprabhu was sannyasi, so Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya first addressed him in Om Namo Narayanaya, greeted him, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the expected reply is for the sannyasi to go also back, Om Namo Narayanaya. I am seeing the Narayan in you, you are seeing the Narayan in me. So when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, Om Namo Narayanaya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, Krishner Matyarastu. Worship Krishna, establishing Krishna. Krishner Matyarastu. Remember Krishna. Krishna is everything. Alright, we'll finish there. I'll read one more verse so we can get back. We can get back on track after the purport. Vrindavani haila tumi Krishna avatara, tomadeki sarvaloka haila nistara. The people then said, you have appeared in Vrindavan as an incarnation of Krishna. Just by seeing you, everyone is now liberated. And then Mahaprabhu will explain some basic concepts about how the living entity cannot be considered to become or to be or become or equal to Bhagavan. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Reading from Revealed Truth by Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Goswami Maharaj Gurudev. So, Gurudev is talking about the achintya concept in relation to the tattva, to Krishna tattva. Much of it is achintya, including the relationship of the jiva with Krishna. This is what Gurudev is saying. Of course, this is the philosophy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, achintya ved abhed tattva. Simultaneously one yet different. And that relationship is, of course, it appears to be contradictory, right? One yet different. So it's achintya, it's inconceivable. That conundrum, it's achintya. And Guru Maharaj says in one place that the achintya nature of the relationship between the jiva and Krishna is just, if the jiva is one with Krishna, the jiva is different from Krishna, then the achintya element is in calculating just how different or just how identical the jiva is with Krishna. Mm-hmm. That's where the achintya constituent of the achintya ved abhed tattva applies in terms of knowing how close the jiva is to being one with Krishna or separate from Krishna. It's incalculable. Achintya, this is Gurudev. Achintya means that which is beyond our capacity to think or understand. Achintya kalo ye bhava natam starakena yojayat prakritibhya param yach-cha tad achintyasya lakshanam. That's from the Mahabharata, Bhishma Parva 5.22. Srila Guru Maharaj used to say that our mundane brains are like puppy brains. They cannot conceive of the transcendental reality. Prakritibhya param. Everything we can see and do is all powerless in trying to realize what is achintya, inconceivable. But when the scriptures describe something as inconceivable and imperceptible, it does not mean that it does not exist. It means it is happily existing beyond the universe, in the transcendental realm, and that can be revealed to us. Chintamani prakarasadma sukalpa vriksha laksha vriteshu surabhir abhipalayantam Lakshmi sahasra satasambrama sevyamanam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami, which is of course from the Sri Brahma Samhita 5.29. How can we conceive of Krishna's divine abode? How can we conceive that every woman there is like Lakshmi Devi and that all wealth is existing within each of them? How can we conceive that Krishna is their only enjoyer and that everything there exists for Krishna's enjoyment? How can we conceive that there we can ask a wish-fulfilling tree for a ripe mango that has no skin or seed? It is all achintya, but also very happily existing. Internal feeling. Everything that exists in the transcendental world exists within consciousness. The divine play of Krishna's aprakrita lila can be felt in the hearts of the jiva souls through revelation. Srila Guru Maharaj would say, everything exists within consciousness. Everything exists within bhava. Bhava means mood and internal feeling. It is through bhava that Krishna's pastimes happily flow. Krishna's asura nidan lilas, the pastimes of killing demons, exist within bhava. And the pastimes of viraha, separation from Krishna, also exist within bhava. How can we conceive that time does not move in Krishna's abode? How can we conceive that there every day is Krishna's birthday and every day is Krishna's play day? It is all achintya. There, whatever is present within a devotee's bhava immediately happens in front of them. When Mother Yasomati thinks, oh, Krishna has gone to Mathura, she faints and cries. But when she wakes up and sees Krishna playing his flute and asking her, oh mother, give me some butter and sweets, she makes these for him. Krishna eats them and her mood changes. This is Krishna's spiritual abode, that all jiva souls have a service place there, that all conditioned souls can go to that plane and engage themselves in service there, is achintya and miraculous. Jai Srila Gurudev.
Jai. There was a sentence, few words about anxiety, fainting when the separation of Krishna and he goes to Mathura. So there's positive emotions and some not so positive emotions, and if the conditioned, fallen conditioned jiva's soul is not so attracted to that negative emotion, the separation, the pain, and they're not wanting to experience that, does that mean that there's no...
It means they're not qualified to experience it.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. There's no use getting anxious about it. Similar principle to, and let me know if I've got the gist of your question. Similar principle to Queen Kunti saying, praying for adverse material circumstances. Similar to the statement that in Gita where Krishna says if someone's very dear to him, he takes away the material things that are obstacles. And a lot of devotees have trouble with this. They're like, oh, I like Krishna, but I don't want him to take away all my stuff. I don't want him to take away my money. It's not going to happen. That's on a very high level. When you want that, when you're at Queen Kunti's level, that's enjoyable. She wants that because it makes her happy. She's not having some kind of contrarian type relationship with herself or some bittersweet type relationship where she's thinking oh yeah, Krishna, take away my things, but I sort of still want my things. That condition for her, she wants that. That is proper happiness. For someone else at our level, that's artificial. The idea of everything being taken away, please don't do that, Please move me forward gradually. So that's a very high level. This so-called pain experienced by devotees in relationship, in their relationship with Krishna. That's very high. The viraha, the vipralamba, the removal by Krishna of obstacles, the creation of seemingly adverse circumstances, which orients the devotee's mind firmly in Krishna's lotus feet. That's very high, and that's very pleasurable to the devotee. So if you're thinking it might be unpleasurable, it's not going to happen to you. The level of Queen Kunti is such that she's praying for that because it makes her happy. It's not it's going to make me sad, but I know it's good for me. No, she wants that. It makes her happy. Her heart is crying out for that. She doesn't want that material stuff. She's saying, take away all the material auspicious, all the material so-called favourable circumstances. Put me into difficulty. I want it. I love it. And she actually loves it. Happiness. It's not some facade. It's not it's the genuine thing. So for us, that's a little bit, we have trouble appreciating that. Because although we understand the theory of, Queen Kunti is desiring adverse circumstances for her own benefit. For us, it's theoretical. For her, it's very real. Those adverse circumstances are very joyful. Whereas for us, the adverse circumstances wouldn't be joyful. They're not going to happen. Until they're actually joyful for us, we don't deserve to have that happen to us. We don't want it. We don't desire that. We don't have loyalty for that. It's not going to happen. We don't deserve it. It's a very high thing. So to try and appreciate that and think it's going to, have some phobia about it happening in our lives, it's ridiculous. It needs to be abandoned. Actually, when you think about it, it's a little offensive because in a sense it's putting yourself ahead of where you are. Thinking that you're qualified for Krishna to directly intervene in your life. Take away your things. It will happen, but when you're ready for it. And when that does happen, then it's a pleasurable thing. It's a good thing. When Srila Prabhupada was moving towards taking sannyas in the late 1940s, but early 1950s. No, sometime in the 50s. When did Prabhupada take sannyas? Maybe 1959. And he was good friends with Param Gurudev, Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And his business had failed, and some of his family had become a little bit inimical, particularly his wife. She took his Bhagavatams down to the market and swapped them for tea biscuits. that was the kind of respect.
For tea.
I heard it was tea biscuits.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but then he came back and of course he was outraged. He said, "Is it, all right, lady, me or tea? What is it, me or tea?" And she said, "Tea." And that was a defining moment for Prabhupada. He's like, all right, okay. But anyway, his family life was suffering. His business life was suffering. And he said to Guru Maharaj, but his spiritual life definitely wasn't. And he said to Param Gurudev, he said, "Do you think it could be something along the lines of Krishna taking away all of this in order to facilitate exclusive devotion?" And Guru Maharaj said, "Yes, it's possible." See, so that's that. Guru Maharaj and those who, yes, he said, yes, it's possible. So that's in the case of someone on the level of the caliber of Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, consulting with Ch.Ch. Guru. Says it's possible. So for people like us to fantasize about having our material things Krishna directly intervening to remove them, put us into adverse circumstances. With Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj says, yes, this could be possible. So it's not a cheap thing. It's far from a cheap thing. It's a very fortunate thing. And so it's a rare thing. And Krishna does help the devotee in many different ways, but that direct intervention where obstacles are removed, it shows that a person is rapidly moving towards Krishna, towards higher levels of bhakti, if that's what is happening. But it's not good to prematurely think that that's happening. So with the fainting and the so-called pain of vipralamba, that is also a very high sentiment. That is also very joyful. Inside of that external pain is great joy. In the Antya Lila it's described how there is a breakdown of the sentiments that constitute vipralamba lila, vipralamba bhav. It's difficult to appreciate for people on lower rungs, occupying lower rungs of bhakti, because difficult to comprehend how it would be enjoyable. We see bhakti as enjoyable, giving us satisfaction, relief from material difficulties. So it's difficult to appreciate how such difficulties such circumstances, feelings would produce happiness. Because it's on a higher level, it takes place after a radical transformation of consciousness. And until that transformation has taken place, then we are not able to appreciate the actual substance of that. Is that a suitable reply?
Yes,
Good enough. Okay. Thanks for the question. Hari Hari Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Prabhu?
Hari Hari Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hari Hari Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Gopala Govindaram Shrimada Sudana.
Gopala Govindaram Srimad
Dirit Hari Gopinna Namohana. Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chanda. Gadadhara Shivasadi Bhaktavinda. Jaya Rupa Sanatana Bhagaratinatha. Shiva Gopala Bhakta Raghunath. Jai Shri Bhakti Nirmala Maharaj ki Jai, Jai Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Deva Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Jai Shri Bhakti Rakshakshara Deva Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Jai Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai, Jai Guru Parampara ki Jai, Jai Shri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai, Jai Gadadhara Pandit Prabhu ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Nitya Gaur Premanande.